We've all heard the story of David and Goliath, but have you ever thought that maybe the story was wrong? Was David really a young boy who took on a giant and won? Or was there more to the story? Hello, friends. I'm here with a Bible story for you. This is the true story of David and Goliath. The armor was huge, just like Goliath's, but when Saul put it on, he couldn't move. It was too heavy, so he went back inside and took off the armor. Then he told David to go out and fight Goliath. David wasn't scared at all. He said, "I'll go." They met in the middle of the field, and they started to fight. Goliath was big and strong, but David was fast and agile. He dodged Goliath's attacks and hit him back. Goliath was surprised by David's strength. He thought he would win easily, but he was wrong. Please like and subscribe. It helps me so much. They were so happy that someone had finally defeated Goliath. But Saul was still angry. He didn't want David to leave. He wanted David to stay and be his hero. But David wasn't interested in being a hero. He just wanted to go home and take care of his sheep. He grabbed his staff and ran to see what was happening. When he got there, he saw a big bear standing on two hind legs. But Saul was still angry. He didn't want David to leave. He wanted David to stay and be his hero. But David wasn't interested in being a hero. He just wanted to go home and take care of his sheep. It was roaring and trying to climb up a tree, but it couldn't do it. The bear was too big. Saul was so angry that he threw a spear at David, but after a few days, David got over his fear. He went back to his sheep and everything was fine. His sheep were safe and his family was safe, and David was happy. He realized that Saul wouldn't find him in the cave. He was safe. Is David really a young boy who took on a giant and won? Or was there more to the story? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps me so much. And if you know someone who loves Bible stories, please share this video with them. Bye. He missed David, but he hit the ground next to him. David was shocked. He couldn't believe that Saul would try to kill him, and said, "You defeated Goliath. You're a hero. Come with me and let's celebrate." He was having a seizure. David was scared, so he ran away. He ran as fast as he could and didn't stop until he was far away from the camp. This time Saul didn't follow him. David was happy. He could finally take care of his sheep in peace, so he ran over and hit the bear. The bear fell down and died. Then David skinned the bear and took its hide. He made a cloak for himself out of the skin. It was a big cloak, just like a king's cloak. They ate dinner together and talked about the battle. Saul was still angry, but David didn't care. He was happy to be home. David said, "Thank you, but I have to take care of my sheep. I don't want them to get hurt." Saul was angry when he heard this. He thought David was ungrateful. He thought David should be happy to be a hero. But David wasn't interested in being a hero. He just wanted to go home and take care of his sheep. But David wasn't interested in being a hero. He just wanted to go home and take care of his sheep. He ran through the forest and over the hills until he reached a cave. He ran into the cave and hid. And if you know someone who loves Bible stories, please share this video with them. Goliath thought David was just another skinny Israelite soldier. He thought David would be scared of him and run away. But David wasn't scared. In fact, he was angry. He was angry because Goliath had been mocking God and the Israelites for 40 days. A lion and a bear came into the camp and started to eat the sheep. David was very upset when he saw this. He picked up a stick and chased the animals away. Then he looked around and saw that one of his sheep was missing. It had been killed and eaten. David wanted to teach Goliath a lesson. Then he took their skins and made 2 shields. He gave one shield to Jonathan, Saul's son, and the other shield to his brother Abishai. They were so happy. They thanked David and said that he was a true hero. But David wasn't interested in being a hero. He just wanted to go home and take care of his sheep. David had been a shepherd for many years and was very good at it. He knew his sheep well and he knew their habits. He also knew how to protect them from wolves and bears. So when he heard about Goliath, the giant who was taunting the Israelites every day, he wasn't afraid, but everyone else was afraid. Even King Saul was afraid. One day, Saul came out to meet Goliath. He was wearing armor that was made especially for him. Then David put on Saul's armor. He tried to put the helmet on, but it was too small. He tried to put the armor on, but it was too tight. David couldn't move in it, so he took it off and left it there. David said, "No, I am not your slave. I am a servant of the living God, and I am going to defeat you today and kill you." Goliath laughed when he heard this. He thought David was crazy. He thought David was just a little boy and he was going to kill him. He didn't need armor or weapons. He had something much better. When Goliath saw David coming out to meet him, he was very surprised. Goliath shouted, "Hey, little Hebrew, why are you coming out to meet me? Do you want to be my slave?" But David ran towards Goliath, and Goliath ran towards David. David kept hitting Goliath until he was tired, and then he finished him off with a stone. David had defeated Goliath. The people were cheering, so David went back to his sheep. But the next day, King Saul called him over, so David went home, but Saul followed him and he stayed with David for a few days. But then one night, something terrible happened. David was so angry. He wanted to find the lion and the bear and kill them. So he did. He found them and killed them. So David went home, but Saul followed him again, and he stayed with David for a few more days. They ate dinner together and talked about the battle. So David went home for the last time. It was probably only a few hours later when David heard loud screams in the forest. David knew he had to help the Israelites. That night, David went back to the camp and sat by the fire with Saul and the other soldiers. They were eating dinner and talking about the battle. So David stood up and said, "I have to go home now. My sheep need me." But then something strange happened. As Saul was getting up from his seat, his eyes rolled back in his head and he fell to the ground. When he looked back, he saw that Saul's men were chasing after him. They were trying to kill him. David was scared, but he kept running. David was safe in the cave, but he was alone. He didn't have any food or water, and he was scared that Saul would find him. And after a few more days, David left the cave. This is the true story of David and Goliath. What do you think?